And what you just heard was the opening to our Innistrad block. Welcome, everyone. As always, it's Scott, a.k.a. Cyborg Heart, with my co-host.
And Zach. I'm not going to put my Discord handle on the podcast yet. Yeah, I liked it. I definitely got some spooky vibes. And coincidentally, we're recording this 2 days before Halloween. Unplanned.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's not, like, we started planning this back in... July?
It had to have been, July or August.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, Innistrad. And then here we are 4 months later.
2 days before Halloween.
Yeah, just...
The day after a full moon.
Yeah, Hunter's Moon.
Yeah, Hunter's
Moon.
Is, according to a headline I saw 10 minutes before the podcast started.
Which is actually going to come up in about 5 minutes.
Really? Okay.
Let me get the main script. All right.
Yeah, I'm excited for a variety of reasons today. One, because I don't really have to do anything. I just kind of had to show up. Two, Innistrad, we talked about how Kamigawa was the set that just released when I started playing Magic and when we started playing Magic.
Yeah.
Innistrad was right there. So
they were releasing almost like side by side.
Yeah, and I've always tried to make wolf decks online, and
the only thing that makes
don't
them
work.
The only thing that makes them viable is the automated feature of like arena and stuff.
Yeah, because trying to do the day-night cycle without arena automatically doing it, it's just like, oh my god. Like, I forget effects playing Magic already, and then you add in this like, oh, if you play a spell, it becomes day. If you don't,
it's like, oh, it's like every 2 spells on your turn, it becomes night, and if you don't play a spell, it becomes day.
Yeah, so
it's a weird effect,
and no one's keeping track of it.
No, yeah. Now, before I really get into this, I just want to go over some like basic seasonal and geographic information.
Okay.
It's not wholly important, but knowledge is good knowledge.
Yeah. One thing real quick, sorry to interrupt you. I thought this during the way you say horror just sounded like whore to me.
You like every time I pull out my horror deck.
Your horror deck.
Yeah.
It's because they're from New York, so you smash the 2 syllables together sometimes.
It's the WH sound here.
Yeah. Horror. Anyway, go on.
So yeah, it's not really important, but again, it's information to get your mind in the setting. And each area is associated with a different plight of the humans in that area. So, and you also have to remember that all this takes place underneath the moon, which is called the Heron.
Oh, so the moon is always
out? It's so weird. There are some stories where like the moon is always there, and then it's daytime, but they talk about the moon. It seems to always be full, but at the same time, there are times when there's a new moon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those like story inconsistencies, just because there's like Kamigawa was what? How many writers? 1 or 2?
2 technically, because it's Akemi Don Bowman, and then another gentleman wrote the Chishiro story.
Yeah.
But it's mostly Don Bowman.
There are like 8 different authors for Innistrad.
Oh, okay.
And those are just the first 3 blocks.
Okay.
Innistrad's
there's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah. So to get started, the Innistrad only has 3 seasons.
Okay.
The first is they're all called moons, so like Hunter's Moon, stuff like that. The first is Harvest Moon, which is akin to our autumn, and the moon always appears orange or red as if it's setting.
Okay.
The days are a lot shorter, and during this time, large bonfires are set each night to help with like harvest, to extend the harvest time each day.
Like ritualistically?
No, it's just more like we need light to bring in the crops.
Oh, I see. Okay, so they set a huge bonfire. Right. Oh, that's really cool.
And then on top of that, they also believe that lighting these fires keeps the vampires at bay, which is also believed because it's stronger at this time.
Yeah, and which I'm sure incorrect.
Not exactly.
Oh, does the bonfire keep the vampires at bay?
It's more like, hey, I can see you.
Oh, yeah, to protect against threats. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm sure like old hunters used to do shit like that, where it's like, we gotta keep working through the dark, so we're gonna set a bonfire and watch out for wolves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hence my opening.
Yeah.
The next season is the Hunter's Moon, and it's dead of winter. It doesn't go like autumn, what we have here, where it gets rainy, and then winter. It's just winter. Like, it is just cold and miserable, and it sucks. During this point of time, the sun never fully sets below the horizon, and this is when food is most scarce for people. So the reason it's called the hunter's moon is this is when people venture out into the woods.
No gathering, just hunting.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when the werewolves are strongest. So they come out and just kill people in the woods.
Hell yeah. If I was able to, I'd be a werewolf.
Oh, 100%.
Well, the option. Well, vampire if you're immortal. Werewolf if vampire is not immortal.
Yes.
Yep.
And if you can control the transformations, which we do see in this.
Oh, good. Okay, perfect.
And this is also...
I can't wait for that dang festival.
I know. I haven't even gotten it. That's the third block.
Oh, okay.
And this is when werewolves are also the most strongest, too.
During the Hunter's Moon?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not just like, hey, we need to go out and get food. It's, we have to go get out food and brave werewolves that are twice as strong as they should be. So that's fun.
That is fun.
And finally, there is no summer on Innistrad. That would be way too kind. This place just hates people.
Yeah.
They have a spring called New Moon.
Okay.
And it's the shortest season of them all, because of course it is. And even with the sun shining, it's still dimmer than other planes. Like, the sun could be at the apex of noon, and it's like, wow, it feels like dusk here.
Yeah, okay. So they're always either in dark or twilight.
Pretty much. There are, like, bright days, but it's very far and few between. It's like England. I mean...
I don't know. I've never been. I can't speak to that.
During this time, because everything is blooming, it is the time of... Considered a time of rebirth and new life.
Okay.
It's also considered those to be born at this time to have a better chance of entering what's known as the blessed sleep, which is their version of the, like, best afterlife.
Oh.
And it's not like heaven or anything like that. It just means you die and no one touches your corpse. Yeah, you stay dead. That's it.
You die and then that's it.
Right. That's the best they hope for here.
So this plane overall is extremely dreary, is what I'm getting.
It is Bloodborne.
Oh.
It's Bloodborne.
Which is very dreary.
Yeah, I mean...
I want to play Bloodborne now.
I know.
As soon as you mentioned it, I'm like, fuck, I wish I was playing Bloodborne.
Reading this, I'm like, I really want to boot up some Bloodborne right now. Damn it. So as we discussed in the first episode, each plane is very different.
Yep.
And like I said, like the geography of this place is really weird because they refer to Innistrad as the plane and the continent, but they also kind of allude that there's other places that they trade with on the plane because there are port cities.
Yeah.
The center of the continent is the province of Stenza. It's a huge collection of mountain ranges that basically just cut the land in half.
Okay.
And it's also the birthplace of their vampires and their main hunting grounds.
Oh, they come from the mountains.
Yeah.
From the mountains of madness. I was trying to think of more from Lovecraft.
Cthulhu, yeah.
Yeah, but then I said that, and I'm like, I got nothing on the follow-up here.
The main... I keep saying the main stretch is the Geiger Reach.
The Geiger?
Geiger.
Okay.
Geier.
Gear, maybe? Geiger?
Yeah.
Your guess is good as
Gear
mine.
sounds actually pretty right. And that range is so high, the tops of the mountains have never been explored, and they're always above the clouds. But there's rumors of, like, dragons and even worse horrors just sitting up there.
Well, yeah, because it's unexplored, so of course there's going to be rumors about what's there.
And who's going to be stupid enough to climb the mountain?
Well, to be honest with you, that's like the most unbelievable part about the story of vampires and werewolves is that nobody's going to climb that fucking mountain. Like, we see it in real life. Like, people go to, like, they're like, oh, I'm going to climb Everest.
Kilimanjaro. I wonder what's up there.
Yeah, I'm going up there, and I'll be one of 7,000 people to plant a flag on it, you know, like. So, like, that's the most unbelievable part, that nobody fucking bothered to go up there.
Exactly. Also, you have to remember that this area is full of vampires.
Yeah,
so
I guess.
Trying to get to the mountains, you're a snack.
There's thank you. I'm kidding.
My cat's glaring at you.
She thought it was funny. I can see her smiling from here.
In this area, the humans live between the valleys in each mountain, and the few valleys where they don't live are just swamps.
Yeah.
There are two main families that control this area, two vampire families. The main is the Falkenrath vampires, and they're known for their mastery of flight. They control what's known as Getander Pass, which is in the east, and in the west there's the Voldaran vampires. They're known for their ability to change their shape.
Oh.
So they can turn into, like, bats, rats, anything that ends in an AT. Bat, rat, cat, that sort of stuff.
Bat Rat Cat, that dude named Matt.
And they watch over the Xyle Pass, which is the only access to the sea in the Providence.
Okay, so the humans in this valley, do they get along with the vampires, or are they like fodder?
They're prey.
Okay, but like, are they like subservient to them, or are they just like?
They're just living in constant fear.
Why would you live in these fucking mountains?
They can't get out.
Oh, because the vampires control the pass.
Right.
That's a bitch.
Yeah.
So they're
there's
literal.
multiple towns. It's not like one city is just being like fed upon constantly, but
yeah. Well, I picture these towns are always like small villages, not very populated.
Yeah, it's
because
a couple hundred people at most.
Yeah, it's hard to build up a city presence when you have vampires snacking on your population every other day.
We'll actually touch off on the Voldarans more later, and they are super sadistic.
And the Voldarans are the
they control
changeling vampires.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
It's weird, though. Like, they're known for their ability to shape change, but every single one of them we see in the story uses flight. I don't know why.
I'm guessing because the cards are probably changelings.
Yeah. Now, to the southeast of there is Nephalia. This is the port of the plane, and it's also the main melting pot. So, like, you'll have vampires, ghosts, everyone living there, and they kind of stay out of each other's business.
Really?
Because the vampires don't want to draw attention to themselves, to the point they even use illusion magic to hide themselves.
Oh.
And this is where all, like, the backdoor shady dealings go on. Mm-hmm. So it's like any shabby port town in any mythological setting.
I've got a pretty clear picture in my head of a dreary, foggy port town.
What's really, really cool about this place, though, is, again, like, no one's really fighting each other. And even the ghosts here are more mischievous than, like, I'm going to kill you. So they'll just, like, knock shit over. They're like poltergeists.
Yeah, they're like that teleporting ghost from our Kamigawa episode. Oh, you can't find your keys? Teleporter.
That'd just be mean. The shoreline, which is the only mention of a shoreline we get in the entire series, is actually filled with silver sand. So, like...
Cool.
I know. But you can't go out there because when the fog rolls in, the ghosts in the fog will kill you and turn you into a ghost. So...
I can think of worse fates.
I'm not, to be fair, true. The ghost actually, the mist, is called the Nebelgast.
Nebel? Nebel?
Yeah, like rebel, but with an N. It brings in the ghosts from shipwrecks, and that's how they, like, kill everyone. This is also where the main church trains their priests called Cathars. So, like, anytime you hear a Cathar, which do come up a lot, they're the main, like, soldier force, but they're also, like, they're warrior priests.
Okay.
And finally, we have Kessing, which is a huge forest area. It's surrounded by...
Hang on, is there an N? Is it Kessig?
Kessig. Yeah,
okay, I was about to say, because I've seen, like, there's a card that's, like, the Kessig something or other that I'm thinking of.
It's a huge forest area. It's surrounded by something called the Ulvenwold, which is this huge forest with just pockets of towns in it. And it's perpetually autumn.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is actually...
I'd be pretty okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in upstate New York, so for me, like, cold, like, it's 45 today, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah. This is where werewolves are the most active, though. So, like, while the other places are dealing with ghosts or vampires, they're straight up dealing with legitimately just werewolf attacks every day.
Oh.
There is actually one more.
Yeah, because you said autumn was the one where the werewolves are the strongest.
That's
right?
winter.
Oh, winter. Okay.
And that doesn't depend on the season. That depends on the phase of the moon.
Oh, okay.
Right. That's why I made sure to break up geography and season
and seasons. Okay.
There is one Providence. I'm sorry, I did skip over it. It's actually one of the more important ones.
The people from that Providence are writing letters right now.
Yeah. Gavnoy. And
what did you just call me?
Exactly. It's the main human-controlled Providence. It's where the main church is. There is a giant walled city run by the Church of Avacyn, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
The city is called Thraben.
Okay.
It's spelled out, and I put it into Google Translate to make sure I wasn't making up in my head. It's spelled Thraben. And if you pronounce it like that, it comes out as Thraben. So I'm going to call it Thraben.
Yeah. As a man who turns 30 in 3 days, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm calling it Thraben.
This is where the Church of Avacyn is based. It's headed by the Lunarch Machias. They call him the host of the church.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out what that means. What I think it means based on the other readings is it's the main power behind the angel. So, like, it's the main human force backing them up.
Okay.
This place, even though it's really safe for humans, isn't actually safe.
Well, yeah, it sounds like because you're in the middle of a fucking war zone, essentially.
This is central to, like, the other three provinces. It also has access to the sea. But while it is safe for humans and while they can find some serenity here, it's also full of, like, demonic cults headed by demon lords. And there are things called, I want to make sure, scab stitchers. And what they do is they take dead bodies, stitch them together, make amalgams, and then revive them.
No,
So
I don't like that at all.
that's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah. So even your safe haven, if you're a human, still kind of
You're going to deal with cults and zombies, like, and demons. Like,
awesome. Like I just picture like fucking like rolling a dice where it's like, okay, do I want vampires, werewolves, cults, or demons, or zombies?
Right,
and it's like no option is good.
You do not have a choice here.
Yeah, Innistrad sounds like hell on earth.
That's pretty much the main geographical information. Now we can actually get into the story.
Hell yeah.
And to discuss
I'm
this,
sorry, heck yeah.
I don't know the name for hell in Innistrad. I really wish I knew.
Because
this is the blessed sleep. I'm guessing the disturbed sleep.
that's a sweet name.
That's what I'm going to call it.
That works for me.
If you're going to talk about the history of this plane, you have to talk about Sorin Markov.
Oh yeah, this is the good stuff. I've been waiting to get into Sorin.
This guy is amazing. He looks like a mix from Alucard from the Castlevania anime, and
you cheeky dick waffle.
not that Alucard.
Oh, okay.
From Castlevania.
Oh, Castlevania. I'm sorry. My brain immediately like Alucard, and then it autofilled to Helsing Abridged.
Mixed with Geralt from The Witcher.
Okay.
He's approximately at this time of present day magic, 7,000 years old.
Innistrad takes place before or after Zendikar? Do you know?
During.
They
run parallel.
Oh, okay.
The first block that we get to takes place right towards the tail end of Zendikar. And then after Zendikar, the second block starts.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm reading the Zendikar book to prepare for our Zendikar episode. Right. And Sorin shows up. So I just wanted to kind of, in my head, figure out where that fits.
He's probably one of my favorite planeswalkers ever. Really? Just for, like, how amazing he is.
I don't know, man. Well, at least in the book, and I'm sure you'll get into this, but in the book that I'm reading, he is, like, the most arrogant piece of shit ever.
Oh, he is, 100%.
Oh,
I'm not going to deny that.
All right, so
but he's on his home turf now, and you see why he's allowed to be arrogant.
Okay. Yeah.
So, like, 7,000 years ago, Sorin's grandfather, Edgar Markov, became the first vampire. What had happened is there's this huge famine that's killing everyone on the plane. There's literally not enough food to go around. So Edgar was messing around with alchemic arts, and to find a solution, he starts working with the demon lord Slenganar. And it's literally, he's like literally whispering in his ear, like, all right, this is what you got to do, like, save everyone.
Which probably doesn't go well if you're getting...
It's a literal demon on his shoulder.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's not good.
Yeah, there's nothing good happening out of this.
It gets to the point where he ends up kidnapping one of the archangels of Innistrad, Mercuriz. These names are so weird.
Yeah.
And with the demon guiding him, Edgar turns to blood magic, draining the blood from the archangel and feeding on it. This act transforms him and his family into vampires.
Yeah, because it's like a blasphemy, right?
Right. It's blasphemy, heresy, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and then the vampire is essentially a curse.
Exactly.
From this act. Okay, yeah.
The shock of the transformation after he forces Sorin to drink the blood actually ignites Sorin's spark.
Oh, good.
And it just hurls him away from Innistrad.
Do we know where he goes?
No.
Okay.
He's just gone for like thousands of years. And despite the apparent loss of his grandson, this is one of the puns I put in here. The experiment was a success.
Oh, shut up. Come on, man.
I have like so many of those.
That's fine. No, it's like a good pun should make everybody in the room cringe. Right, yeah. So, good work.
So like he's like, yeah, everything's successful. We created these vampires, and now with the vampires on the top of the food chain feeding on the humans, it lessens the famine.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's less mouths to feed,
right.
technically. It gets to the point where Sorin comes back and he realizes that, and this is like 1,000 years later, that given enough time, the vampires will eventually kill all the humans.
Yeah.
They're too efficient killers. There's nothing to hold them back.
Yeah.
While he's gone, while Sorin's gone, Edgar goes into like, sleep. Like, he just, like, peace, I'm going to nap for like 4,000 years. And yeah, he does sleep in a coffin in case you're wondering.
My son's gone, so I guess I'm gonna go take a nap.
He goes and sits in a coffin and just lays down for every 500 years for like, and then wakes up for like a day.
God, that sounds so wonderful right now. I'm drinking this coffee and I am ready for bed.
And all he does is like get up from time to time, and like while he's asleep, Sorin like brings him books on what's happening. He gets up, reads the books, talks to Sorin, and then goes back to bed.
Does Sorin write these books?
No, just like stuff he collects.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, thousands of years happening. That's thousands of years that someone's chronicling, and he's just like, here you go, whatever.
Yeah. You've woken up for one day, read 50 books, and then you go back to sleep for 500 more years.
Right. Eventually, during one of his times back, Sorin is greeted by another new planeswalker. Nahari.
No.
She's a core from KOR from Zendikar. And she's a lithomancer, where she can move and manipulate metal and rock.
Okay.
She can actually like heat it up so it's like lava and use that. She can shape it into blades.
What is her name again?
Nahari.
Nahari? I just want to see if I have her in my Planeswalker deck.
I don't think you do. If you do, you might have her from the later editions. But
no, I think I do actually.
Really?
I've never played her, but I think I have like Nahari the like Unmaker or something like that.
Probably.
Oh yeah, Nahari the Harbinger is the card of the Planeswalker.
That's
deck.
actually from what happens later on in Innistrad.
Oh, cool. All right.
So she comes back, and Sorin comes back, finds this planeswalker, and he mentors her. They kind of take on like a halfway between a father-daughter and teacher and student relationship. It's very tense, but he teaches her how to planeswalk, and Sorin, watching her, learns how to use lithomancy too.
Okay.
So he learns how to manipulate mana in the same way to move rock.
That's cool. Okay.
Takes her under his cloak in a way. Told you, there's so many vampire puns.
I'm gonna have to edit out my reaction because it just blew my nose right into the microphone. But for those who are listening, I scoffed in horror. Horror.
Eventually, the two of them are joined by Ujin the dragon.
Okay.
Who again is one of these ancient planeswalkers. Like, he is one of like the first 10 dragons in existence.
Yeah.
Like, he is old.
Okay.
He's Nico Bolas's twin brother, actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So they travel together for something. I don't know why they're together, but they come across a plane where the Eldrazi are destroying it.
That would be Zendikar.
No. Another one that's already like dead.
Oh, okay. It's like the Eldrazi have won.
Yeah,
already.
they're finishing their task and they come across this plane.
Okay.
So the three of them decide that like we can't let these things just do whatever they want. They'll destroy plane after plane.
Yeah.
In response, they decide to seal the Titans on Zendikar because something about the mana there attracts them.
Yeah. Well, it's because Zendikar is this. I can fill in some gaps here. Zendikar is as a plane extremely mana rich to the point where the planet, like, they have what they call royals, which is essentially like mana shifting in the plane. From my understanding, I'm still reading the book, so I'm going off what I got, but. So it's similar to an earthquake, but it also like causes like chunks of land to shoot up into the sky, and sometimes they just fucking stay there.
Yeah, I mean,
so like the mana on Zendikar is extremely potent, which is why Nissa is so effective, because she is an expert at manipulating this mana.
Exactly. So they lure them to Zendikar, And to hold them off, Ujin is using his unique ability, which is called Ghost Flame.
Okay.
Which is a colorless fire that burns anything it touches.
Oh, man.
I know. So cool. While that's going on, Sorin's using his blood magic.
I'm just trying to picture a colorless fire, like...
Invisible fire.
Oh, it's invisible?
It's literally invisible.
Oh.
Ujin is a colorless mana creature.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it wouldn't be invisible. It would just be gray, wouldn't it?
It's just literally invisible.
Oh, okay.
Sorin is...
So the writers didn't have to describe Ghost Fire because it doesn't visible. It's not visible.
I have his card, and they depict it as like a teal color almost.
Yeah.
But like when you read about it, it's always described as like invisible or colorless or something.
Well, not to make another Lovecraft reference, but it was the same thing where like the reason why Lovecraft always didn't describe the monsters
because your mind's
gonna make it scarier to you personally. So that's why
horror movies never show the monster.
Yeah, well, and then when they do, like in the Babadook or the Babadook, where it's just like it looks super creepy, then it's just like no, it's just a guy in a hat.
It's literally a guy in a hat. So, as Ujin's burning them, Sorin's using his blood magic to like rip them apart. Nahari is actually using the plane's own ley lines of mana to create a giant circuit to power a prison.
This is on Zendikar.
Yeah.
And this part I actually do know, but
right.
Yeah.
But our listeners don't.
Yeah, exactly. Keep going. I'll jump in if I have any new information too.
She's making these huge octahedrons, which are these like 8-sided diamond floating crystals almost made of stone.
Okay.
And they channel the magic, the mana.
She makes those?
Yeah, she's constructing them as they're fighting the Eldrazi.
Interesting, because they're present on the planet already, at least in the story.
They are natural there, but she's like moving them, making more.
Okay, and forming the circuit. Okay, I understand.
Because it's all to redirect the ley lines.
Yep.
So they eventually get them into this prison. Never really describe it. It's just known as like a prison.
Yeah.
And they lock it, so the only way to open it is with...
so this is the first time Sorin goes to... Yeah, this is the first time Sorin goes to Zendikar. Okay.
Yeah, you're reading about the second time.
I'm reading about the second time. Yeah. Okay, cool. Because there's references to it where he's like... He shows up and he's
with like Nissa and all that.
Like he shows up to Nissa and he's like, "I'm lost," or and she's like, "What? Like you seem to know this plane, but how are you lost?" Like,
well, let's see. It's been several thousand years. The royals have messed it up.
Yeah,
and I'm a vampire who's visited a lot of planes.
Yeah, listen, ladies, Zendikar means for you, this is the end of your plane. For me, it's Tuesday.
Like, I want to call him out on that, but that is entirely fair for Sorin.
Yeah, well,
like that's what he does.
I mean, I'm almost 30, and already the days like pass in the blink of an eye. If you're 7,000, I can't imagine like a day to you must be a minute.
He's 7,000 years old. He can go anywhere he wants, anytime he wants. He is the master of his home plane, and he is still one of the most powerful planeswalkers to exist.
Yep.
This man it fears nothing. He just gets turned around sometimes.
Well, and occasionally, at least on his second return to Zendikar, gets beaten by a giant and like knocked unconscious immediately. Yeah. Which it's funny. Well, I mean, we'll cover it obviously when you get to Zendikar, but it's just funny how he's like an immortal, timeless, super powerful vampire, and then occasionally he just gets his ass beat and he falls unconscious.
I love that.
Which is just like okay.
Which we actually see later on.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
But he does it to himself.
Fucking.
So. They get him into this prison, they lock it. The only way to open it is Ujin's Ghostfire present with the 3 sparks of 3 planeswalkers.
The only way to lock the prison?
Lock it or unlock it.
Okay.
So you can have 3 planeswalkers, but unless you have Ujin's Ghostfire, you can't get in there.
Oh.
So it is a perfect seal.
Yeah.
Heavy air quotes on perfect.
This is also explaining so much about his encounters. When he goes to Zendikar the second time, he kind of figures out that this is a planeswalker pretty immediately, and then he's like, come with me, you'll be useful.
Yeah.
And that's why, because he needs 3 planeswalkers,
exactly.
Right? Perfect. Okay, wow, this is already like enriching the book that I'm reading, because it's covering like all the backstories.
See, this is why I want to do Innistrad, because it touches off on so much stuff. So they lock him away, everything's good. I just want to touch off on Ujin one last time.
Yeah.
What I really like about him is, like I said, he's the twin of Nico Bolas. He's actually one of the smaller primordial dragons.
Okay.
But they did everything in sync. So, like, they hatched at the same time. They walked for the first times at the same time. They spoke for the first
Ujin
words.
and
Nika
Nikobolas. Okay.
What eventually, there is something that separates them, like their paths. I think Ujin was more intent on studying, Nikobolas was more intent on acting.
Yeah.
And that's what led to the divide. But they are actually the direct spawn of the Dragon, which is the first dragon ever. Like, that's their mom.
But what was he dragging? That's the real question.
Don't start with that.
Real quick, is this a good spot to like take 2 minutes? I keep having this thought because of your cat. I'm gonna change the podcast like blurb to include her as a co-host.
Oh, please do.
So it's gonna be Scott, Zach, and Scott's cat French toast. Discuss Magic the Gathering.
I love it as soon as you said that she walked away.
Yeah, of course, but well, you know, her job is to be cute. She accused. She not accused it. She did it already.
So after they seal him away, Sorin does what he does, which is F around for several thousand years.
Yeah.
So one of his return trips back to Innistrad is when he has that revelation that, like, the humans aren't going to last. This is not okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's been several thousand years, and their numbers are dwindling fast.
We got to put a sustainability plan in action because humans are now endangered.
Right. So,
well, yeah, because I guess I mean, I don't know if you touched on this, but like, so what happened? Like, what would happen if they got all the humans and they just died? Then the vampires are just dead, right?
That's what I was getting to. They realize they'll start cannibalizing themselves.
Okay.
Because they'll go into a blood frenzy and just killing each other for food.
Yeah. Can vampires feed on other vampires in Magic the Gathering?
Apparently they can in Innistrad.
Okay. Well, it makes sense. Innistrad's a hell hole. So, of course, vampires can eat other vampires.
It's a 17th century hellhole.
Hey, Toast. Oh, no, she's walking away.
So he comes back, he has this revelation that, like, the humans are going to die out, then the vampires are going to kill each other, and then it's a dead plane. There's no one left.
The werewolves.
They'll eat the werewolves. The werewolves are human during not the full moon.
Oh, yeah.
So, there are ways to do what he does on other planes that are explained better, but it's not a touch off on it all on Innistrad. All we know is it's a collection of spells that Sorin casts to actually create an archangel.
Okay.
Named Avacyn.
Avacyn with a V?
Avacyn.
Okay.
She's the background for the tablet I have.
A.V. Avacyn. I just want to look it up. Angel of Hope.
Yeah.
Oh, she's fucking rad.
I know.
She's like a goth angel, which is not a thing.
I know.
It's not a thing you see very often.
She's also, quote unquote, according to Nahari, made in Sorin's image, with like the high cheekbones and like the dark eyes.
Yeah, there's a passing resemblance here.
So this all takes place like 4,000 years before present day.
Yeah.
And this actually creates such a toll on Sorin, it like knocks him out.
Yeah, I would
for
imagine.
a long time.
Real quick, I just want to read the flavor text from the card, just because I got it. It looks cool.
A lower.
A golden helix streaks skyward from the fucking my nose. Sorry. A golden helix streak. Maybe I shouldn't do this today. My nose is so stuffed up from this fucking weather. It's a nightmare. A golden helix streaks skyward from the Hellavault. A thunderous explosion shattered the silver monolith, and Avacyn emerged, free from her prison at last. So, fucking awesome.
So he creates her, and there's no information about him for like the next 1,000 or so years. So it seems the strain of it left him powerless and like half dead, slumped somewhere.
Yeah.
So we're just going to table him, or should I say cough at him for now. We'll come back later. Told you I have a lot of these puns. Yep. Moving over now, we get the Angels of Innistrad, which is the main driving force of the first arc.
Okay.
And they come in 4 flocks called flights. So
Oh, flocks, like bird flocks.
Right.
Okay.
The first one is the Flight of Gold Night. They are associated with the sun and the Feast of Gold Night during the Harvest Moon, which is when the sun doesn't set for 2 days, and they have this like big party.
A festival, one could say.
Right. It's not that festive.
I know. I really want to know. We got so many episodes to do.
I've gotten teasers like reading far ahead, but they also oversee the training of the Cathars for their priesthood. So they like train them to fight.
And the Cathars were a class?
They're humans that are trained as warrior priests.
Okay.
And the creation of Avacyn and like her presence, because she's so powerful, shifts all of the political and socio power towards the Church of Avacyn. The second flight is the Flight of Alabaster, which is led by Bruna. They are associated with the Hunter's Moon and the Blessed Sleep.
Oh, Bruna, you have that card.
I do. I have a version of her. And they create and maintain wards that protect cities and holy sites. Okay. And these wards also are meant to protect the desecration of the dead. So it's basically like putting a cross on a mausoleum. Like, oh, they're safe now.
We've done it. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, together.
With the power of friendship, we will fight off the demons.
Pretty much. The third flight is... sorry, my script is messing with me. The third flight is the Flight of the Herons. They are associated with the new moon, rebirth, purity, and birth. And they maintain the magical wards that protect humans in life, which is inverse to Bruna.
Okay.
The final one, and sadly my favorite flight out of all four, is the Flight of Dusk.
Okay.
They were led by Lissa, and...
Lissa?
Lissa.
Okay.
What I really like about her is she was not the typical angel. Like, all of them are very, white, pure, all that. She had, like, brown hawk wings. She wore full armor. She just looked like a badass.
Awesome. Lissa, can you spell that?
Yeah, Lisa. Lissa.
Yeah, I'm just looking it up here. For those listening, the card is Lissa, Shroud of Dusk from Commander Legends. Oh my god, she's so fucking rad.
I told you.
And her wings are huge, too.
They're all like that. All the angels in Innistrad are massive.
Oh, okay.
Well, like, look at Avacyn. I mean...
Oh. This card's actually really good. Because she doesn't get commander attacks, she can just pay life instead.
Yeah.
And with like an angel deck, like life is basically candy. You get. So
you saw
much
that
of it.
last night.
Oh my god, I had to kill you with commander damage just to get past your fucking 80 health.
Unfortunately, Lysa did some stuff that branded her as a heretic by the church, and Avacyn herself.
You're gonna get into.
I'm gonna get into it right. So we don't know what their flight warded against, or warded for. What we do know is that they did associate with monsters and demons. And the reasoning why is Lysa basically was like, listen, if we get chummy with them, we can get some information and figure out how to better do our jobs.
With the demons.
With the demons, the monsters, all of them.
Okay.
So, like, I can easily imagine, like, one of her angels going to a bar and be like, listen, I'm looking for some werewolves. Well, I need a little info. So they were, like, the underhanded flight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense, but I also see, like, immediately why she would be branded a heretic.
It gets worse.
Oh, good, okay.
And what ends up happening, what's actually brands her and costs her life, is she makes a deal with a demon lord. She binds herself to him.
Oh.
Immediately, Avacyn goes, no, we can't do that.
Yeah, we can't be making angel demon babies.
And while the other three angels don't participate, Avacyn wipes out the entire flock by herself.
Really?
Like, at once. Like, just wipes all of them out. She's not gone, though. And we'll see her much later.
She made a deal with the Demon Lord.
Right.
Who's the Demon Lord?
I don't know right now. All I know is it was a Demon Lord.
Oh, okay.
And finally, we're going to get back to Avacyn. And like I said, I mentioned her a few times. And while all the other ones are associated with the season, she's actually associated with the moon itself.
Avacyn.
Yes.
Okay.
So while we had the one of us associated with sun, warding, stuff like that, monsters, she's the moon. And while she wasn't a natural angel, which means the other angels couldn't sense her presence, she was so powerful and so devout in her mission, they all just fell in line behind her.
Yeah.
Because, like...
there were angels prior to Sorin creating her, but when he created her, he was like, he gave her so much juice that, like, the other angels were just like, yep, you're
she's, like, at this stage, half a step below a god.
Okay. Well, she wiped out, like, a flock of them by herself.
Yeah, in a night.
Yeah.
Like, for funsies. Like, this is not hard for her.
Yeah.
And what's really nice about this is because they fall in line behind her, it also unifies all of them. They're still their own flights, but they have a general to answer to now.
Okay.
And again, just to cut back, Sorin is still like half dead, slumped somewhere.
Yeah.
Been a few thousand years.
He's drunk in a ditch, sleeping in the barn with the pigs.
Pretty much. So she becomes this massive protector of the plane. She's leading the angels to protect the humans. She also inspires the humans, which causes them to unify and form the Church of Avacyn, which becomes not only the main religious force, but the main political force. So whatever the Pope declares, the Lunarch Machias, that's the law of the land.
Okay.
Now, this doesn't exactly bring the humans back fully. They're not ruling the plane anymore, but they've regained the footholds they've lost.
Yeah, they're not like they're not on the verge of extinction like they were prior.
Right. This doesn't tip it in their favor. It just rebalances the scales.
Yep. Okay.
Which is exactly what Sorin wanted, because he wanted to make sure he didn't wipe out the vampires, the werewolves weren't wiped out, nor the humans were wiped out. He wanted just everyone's equal.
Yeah, Sorin strikes me as a long game kind of dude. So he just really wanted to just restore equilibrium.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the vampires had tipped it way too far in their favor.
Yeah.
Now, creating Avacyn did two things. The spell that created her did two things. It created her, obviously. But the second is he actually ripped a chunk of the moon out. The silver moon that no one thought was touchable. Like, just, nope, I need a shard of it. Bring it here.
Was it made of cheese?
It was made of silver.
Oh.
The whole moon is silver.
Wild.
And he brings it down to the surface and wards it into a prison. So anything that Avacyn puts into it, they can't get out. It's 100% escapable.
It's a one-way ticket, basically.
Exactly.
Okay.
It also absorbs any magic used against it. So you can't attack it with magic or anything like that.
So it is hexproof.
It's warded, it's hexproof, so whatever you want to call it. So Avacyn uses it over like the next 1,000 years, and anything she can't kill, she chucks in there. Like demons, demon lords, just seals them away. Again, tip the scales, make sure everything's good. And that actually becomes the motto of the church. That which cannot be destroyed must be bound. She actually creates these collars, these glowing collars around her victims, and uses that to drag them in.
I'm actually not totally on board with this. As a freedom-loving rebel myself, just the idea of like, no, you go against what we decree, we being a big, powerful church,
right?
You get thrown into moon prison forever.
Well, to be fair, the only one actually doing that is an archangel who's only going after monsters.
Yeah, I don't know.
The church is a whole other story.
Do we have some examples of who she's like put in this?
Yeah, we actually get to that.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I'll let you go then.
Now, this prison was actually situated outside Thraben, right where right where it hits the sea. So like, there's this cliff face with just this silver shard standing there.
Is there a card that represents this? Do you know?
Yeah, it's called the Hell Vault. Hel Vault.
Hell Vault. Let's see. Oh.
It's not pretty.
It's also not as big as I was expecting.
It's like several hundred feet.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's like an eternal prison...
It's a pocket dimension.
Oh, yeah, it's bigger inside than outside.
Yeah,
okay,
it's the TARDIS. You've never seen Dr. Who?
I haven't, no. Well, I've seen the one episode where there's a lady who's a piece of stretched skin on a...
Moisturize me.
Yeah, no, I hate that.
We actually have a character like that in Innistrad.
Great.
No, we don't.
Oh, okay. I was like, awesome. Looking forward to it.
Moving forward, we actually have to leave Innistrad for this next part to make sense.
Okay.
So while the Eldrazi were sealed away by Ujin, Sorin, and Nahari, she made a pact. They all made a pact that if the prison was ever opened, Nahari would signal the other two. They would come back, reseal them.
Yeah.
Everything's good. But Sorin did what he did best and just kind of fucked off. He's slumped somewhere half dead.
It is funny how so many magic stories involve a character just kind of fucking off for a while.
Right.
Like Kaito just like fucks off to other planes for like 6 years and then...
Well, he was looking for the Wanderer, that's to be fair. But like, no, Sorin literally is like, oh, we sealed it, peace, and just leaves. Yeah. Like, that's it.
We have stopped the threat, and now I'm going to go home and take a nap.
I'm going to go home, create a daughter with myself. I know that sounds weird. She's going to be an angel. Don't worry about it. And then I'm going to go take a nap. That's what he did. So he's...
Oh, he views Avacyn as a daughter.
Kind of,
okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. He created her.
Yeah, he's made from a shard of his power.
Yeah.
And Ujin is like half dead and dead at the same time. There's a weird temporal paradox thing.
Did he, was it due to the ceiling of the Eldrazi?
No, he
or-
gets into a fight with someone else.
Do we know who?
It happened on another set, so I didn't want to research it.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, that's fair.
After they were sealed, Sorin effed off, Ujin effed off.
Which set? Just in case there's curious audience listeners.
I
Who...
think it's Ravnica.
Okay.
I really didn't look into it because I didn't
Yeah.
want to spoil anything for when we do another set.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this one I have to touch on Zendikar.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So after everything's sealed and the other two are like, yeah, we're going to go our separate ways, Nahari stays behind and she actually teaches the people about the Eldrazi. And she's like, do not open this prison for the love of God.
The people on Zendikar.
Right.
Okay.
She's like, don't open it. Don't mess with the cage. Just leave it alone. Those giant things channeling the ley lines, don't touch them. The royals are fine. They'll self-correct. Just leave them alone. So she eventually actually enters like a meditative state and seals herself in stone to like let the eons pass where she doesn't die.
Yeah.
But during this time, the message about the Eldrazi becomes warped and twisted.
Yep.
And to the point that they're viewed as gods and she's their messiah. Like she's their messenger.
Oh, okay.
Gotta love organized religion.
Yeah. This is, I mean, it sounds like, well, just word of mouth itself is always a...
It's a game of telephone with
Yeah,
religion.
exactly.
That never goes well.
Yeah.
After she goes to sleep, a group of vampires native to Zendikar, so not Innistrad vampires,
Yep.
set up a temple over one of the ley lines that's channeling the power. And through a combination of rituals and time, they weaken the seal enough for some of the Eldrazi spawn to get out and some of their power. The Titans themselves aren't free, but their minions are. Some of their magic is free.
If I'm recalling this correctly, the Eldrazi are like a hive mind, right? Where the Titans just control the spawn.
Right. So think of it like a beehive with 3 queens.
Okay.
But all the queens are working together.
Yep. Okay.
Now these minions of the Eldrazi, they wipe out the vampires except for the main 12, and they become like the ruling vampire faction on Zendikar.
Okay.
They're not important to the story, so I didn't research them.
I mean,
they're very important to Zendikar.
Well, that's the thing. I'm reading the Zendikar book now, so when the next set we're doing, or what'll be running, I guess, concurrently to Innistrad is going to be Zendikar. So we'll actually touch on the events there significantly more in the coming episodes.
This act actually wakes up Nahari, and I just want to take a minute and just put yourself in her shoes. You went to sleep knowing one of the greatest threats on the plane or in the multiverse was locked away, and when you wake up, your world's on fire. They're just eating everything. So she joins the resistance, fights them as best she can, locks them away again, kills whatever got out, make sure everything's resealed and everything's good. And then...
Put a little bit of spackle here.
Exactly. During this, she sends out like a magical pulse, like, hey, Ujin, Sorin, we need help back here. And they don't respond.
Yeah, well, because they're both, at this point, half dead.
Yes. One is half dead, one is dead. But there's a temporal paradox, so we'll get to that. So again, Sorin is like half dead, slumped somewhere. I have that in my script like 8 times. And he does feel Nahari re-enter his plane.
Okay.
And it kind of rouses him enough to where he gets up. Now, he's been asleep for a few thousand years because of the strain of creating the Archangel. So he hasn't done anything. He's just been laying in a ditch somewhere. Laying in a basement.
Well, it's just funny because, like, the 7,000 years, he's only been alive for, like, a third of that.
He's only been doing stuff for, like, 2,000 of them.
Yeah, which is like, okay, well, you're 7,000 years old, but you have only, 2,000 years of experience.
Right. So he wakes up, and he finds Nahari actually outside the Howl Vault. And she's trying to use her lithomancy to move it, alter it, and she can't. And that's when she realizes that this thing ate the magic signal, and she's furious with Sorin. Because if this thing's eating any extra dimensional magic, they can't warn each other.
Yeah, right. Don't you remember our pact from 2,000 years ago, dude?
Exactly. And Sorin kind of like brushes it aside. He's like, well, I'm protecting my plane. Why are you upset?
Yeah, of course.
And
he's a douche.
Nahari loses all of her chill and attacks him. Now, Sorin is still depowered from creating Avacyn. He's like still half dead here.
Yeah.
he's still effortlessly blocking her. Like, he's combating her like it's nothing.
Okay.
It gets to the point where Avacyn sees this happening and intervenes. And the reason why I think she intervenes is because Nahari isn't a native to Innistrad. That's the only reason.
Oh, okay.
So she intervenes
On Sorin's behalf.
just on the plane of Innistrad.
Okay.
She just sees someone attacked who is native to Innistrad being attacked by someone who isn't.
Yeah, okay.
And she wipes the floor with Nahari, just destroys her,
Yeah.
and throws her in the Hell Vault.
Oh, great.
So
Did Sorin, like, sign off on this, or?
yeah, pretty much. He doesn't argue with her. So just put yourself in Sorin's shoes. Your adoptive daughter has been a bad girl and she's yelling at you. So you had your other daughter, put her in timeout.
Well, yeah, but permanent timeout.
Exactly. So she actually just, like, is locked in there for, like, 1,000 years. Just locked in this pocket dimension. Just can't get out. With the demons.
I would be quite upset.
Yeah. They describe the inside of it as, like, a black void. So she's basically floating through space.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, like, a demon will come by and bump into her and just, like, scratch her and, like, keep moving on.
Okay.
She can't control where she's going. There's nothing there. And
God, what a horrible torture.
you have to remember, like, Sorin's one of these guys, like, he doesn't get upset. He has people to get upset for him. And Nahari knows that when she's coming to the plane.
You get mad on my behalf. I'm
Like,
gonna go.
legitimately, he doesn't get upset during the fight. He doesn't get angry, doesn't raise his voice. He's just like, I don't know, you're like a bratty child. Why are you here yelling at me? And rather than him getting angry, the angel gets angry for him and throws her into prison.
Man, Sorin blows. I hate him.
I
don't like
love
him.
his ego, though.
I don't. Because he shows up on Zendikar and he's all like, yes, I'm amazing. And then, like, gets his ass beat a bunch of times. And I don't know.
He's still drained from creating Avacyn when he goes back to Zendikar, which happens now.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, Zendikar, I'm sorry, life on Innistrad continues. Avacyn's still doing her thing, protecting people. The church is warding people. The angels are attacking monsters. And, like I said before, the only victory on Innistrad is the continued struggle.
Yeah.
And Sorin finally goes back to Zendikar. It's been, 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And he finds them. The Titans are completely free now. The seal has been completely broken.
Yep.
And he goes to find Ujin, but he's dead.
But
Not
dead.
really, since there's some time travel shenanigans with another planeswalker that left him very weak and sealed away in his own hedron, like on Zendikar.
Okay.
So
Do we
he's
know who that planeswalker is?
I think it's Tari. He's the time travel guy that's buddy-buddy with Karn.
Oh, yeah. Teferi.
Teferi.
Yeah, I used to hate that fucker when I played, back when I played Arena, there was a deck using Teferi where it would just negate everything you did, and I was like, oh, just fucking kill me.
I got some blue cards I'm going to start messing with, and they're like counters.
Well, I'm a red guy myself, but
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of blue decks recently because of the fairies that I got
fun.
It can be very fun to troll your friends.
Yeah.
Like, if I was playing in a tournament, I don't think I would use anything like that. But, like, if I'm playing against you guys and you're using your Eldrazi deck, I have no problem using the Hullbreaker Kraken to send your shit back.
Sorin eventually does find Ujin locked away in this seal, trying to recover. Because he didn't die, but he still got the crap.
And this is when Sorin is traveling with Nissa.
This is before he meets Nissa.
Oh, before he meets Nissa.
So
okay.
So he goes to Zendikar, see the Eldrazi are free, and it's like, I gotta go find Ujin. And goes off. But finally finds him and wakes him up, and is like, dude, we gotta go back. The Eldrazi are free. We're kind of messed up here.
Hey, bro, wake up. The Eldrazi are free. I put the other lady in prison. And
He doesn't tell him that. So he wakes him up and tells him, like, hey, the Eldrazi are free. And Ujin is very polite. He's like, thank you for waking me up. And he's like, go get Nahari. And Sorin just like, yeah, okay. And, like, leaves. Like, you can't tell him. He tells him, don't show your face unless you bring Nahari back. And you can't get to Nahari.
Because she is in a literal inescapable prison.
Right. So I think this is when he goes back to Zendikar to try and find another planeswalker.
Okay. And that's when he bumps into Nissa.
Right.
Okay.
So as he's having a grand old time, talking with the immortal dragon, going back to Zendikar. Avacyn was like beating the crap out of this demon lord named Grizzlebrand. And he is one of the most powerful demon lords on the plane.
Yeah, the name is familiar to me for some reason.
He's part of Liliana Vess's storyline.
Yeah, I came across it somewhere in the reading, but...
He's one of those demons who, like, is present in several planes just because his influence is so high.
Okay.
So they're just beating the crap out of each other. It's like 3 days. They're just nonstop slamming into each other.
And what was his name one more time?
Grizzlebrand. Grisel brand. Grislebrand? Grislebrand.
Sorry, I'm just Googling it. Grizzlebrand Avacyn Restored.
Mm-hmm. Avacyn Restored is the set name, I think.
Okay. Flying lifelink, pay 7 life, draw 7 cards. Man, he's a 7/7.
Yeah. There's a lot of 7s.
Is there a reason for that, lore-wise? Or?
There isn't.
Okay.
4 would be more appropriate, but we're not going to touch off on this.
Okay.
That's part of Liliana's thing.
Yeah.
So the only people who are witnessing this fight are the Lunarch Machias and his like trusted bishops. One of them is a girl known as Thalia, and she actually becomes very important later on.
Thalia, Thali?
A.
Okay.
Yeah. So Avacyn realizes she can't kill this guy. She has to seal him. Using whatever strength she has left, she throws him into the Hell Vault. As it's closing around him, he throws a harpoon, hits her, and pulls her in with him.
Oh, nice. He roadhogs her.
Yeah, he seals her in the prison with him.
Yeah, I mean, I at this point, I'm kind of rooting for Grizzlebrand because I don't like Avacyn's actions here. And maybe there's some context I'm missing, but like I just don't agree with the idea of like forever prison. Like that's not cool.
Well, they are demon lords. Their entire thing is so destruction. That's their whole thing.
Yeah, well, there's I mean, if they're looking for balance, like you need destruction and creation.
We'll get to the balance on what happens. So the bishops and Micaiah see this, and he decrees that they can't tell anyone this happened.
Of course.
Because if word gets out that Avacyn's gone...
Yeah, the power of our church is gone.
It's not even that. It's mass panic. Because she's the only one leading the angels, protecting everyone.
Yeah.
So Sorin comes back. And
can't wait to hear how he fucks this up.
Oh, no. He actually like has an appropriate response now,
good,
and I'm so happy. So he finds out Avacyn is missing. Again, one daughter's in timeout, the other one's just gone. So he tears through the plane. He is just going after anyone that might have information.
So he actually gets mad.
He gets furious.
Okay.
Because he's got no one to get mad for him anymore.
Yeah, he lost his get mad for me guy.
Right. He ends up going to Thraben and confronts Machias because he's the head of the church. And he doesn't tell him anything. He's like, I don't know what happened to her. I swear. Please, like,
and
I
Machias
don't.
did witness this.
Oh, he watched their fight. Because, and I just want to put yourself in his shoes right now. I think it's a very smart move. Because I don't think Sorin understands the message, don't kill the messenger.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, you tell Sorin that you witnessed his daughter get pulled into the hell prison.
Yeah.
He just kills you.
Yeah,
like, he just eats your blood from, like, you just, like, bleh, and then, like, Darth Vader grips you until you explode.
Sorin ends up leaving. I don't know why he came back in the first place, but he ends up leaving again. And now, while Sorin is gone, and I swear to God, people only do shit when he's missing, because they're either afraid of him, or they're just like, they don't want to deal with him. So, like, you know what, we'll wait till he's off the plane, or half-dead slump somewhere, and then we'll do our evil shit. So 3 parties start to make their move on this plane, like, really upset it. The first 2 are Gareth Sincani and Gissa Sincani. They're brother and sister.
Okay.
And they fight like normal kids, you know, competing against each other, rivals, but they raise armies of the undead to do it for them.
Oh, good.
The brother, Gareth, he's a stitcher, so he takes dead things and stitches them together to make his zombies.
Don't like that.
And then Gissa just raises the dead to make armies.
Somehow more acceptable in my mind.
It's less desecration.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
It gets to the point that, like, they can't stand losing to each other. So Gareth takes over a town, and Gissa just, okay, and just destroys the town with her army. Like, they are that competitive. And they get to the point where Gareth realizes, like, they're going to kill each other if this goes keeps going.
Yeah.
So he goes, I got a truce for you. We'll work together. Let's take over Traben. Let's just take over the city.
Throbbing. Okay.
Oh, God, I hate you. So they amass these armies and actually assault the city. And while they're doing that, Geralt actually sneaks into the city and kills Machias, the Pope, the Lunarch.
Who had witnessed the imprisoning of Avacyn.
He's the only one who saw it that's still in the city.
Yeah, because there was a second guy who...
Thalia.
Thalia, okay, yep.
And... whoops, sorry. And while this is going on, the battle is still raging outside. And this fight takes a while to the point that they actually are able to do the funeral rites for Machias and put him to rest.
While the fight's still going on.
Right, yeah, because this is a huge walled city. Think of it like New York City, not that size, but like that, but with a giant wall around it.
No, I've been watching Attack on Titan, so I'm picturing...
Yes,
Titan.
perfect example.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I was going to say a huge spoiler, so I'm not going to say that.
After the burial, Geralt is still like messing around in the town. He's not doing anything, he's just there. But this is when we see Liliana Vess enter the plane.
Okay.
And she is a planeswalker that is black aligned, but she deals in necromancy magic and healing magic.
Yeah.
So what she did is, just as a little bit of backstory, she wanted to see if there was a way originally to use black mana for healing magic.
Okay.
And she succeeded.
Oh.
She's also really egotistical.
I mean, from what I'm coming across, everyone in Magic is egotistical.
There's no one who's selfless.
The only one I can think of offhand would be the Wanderer.
But she's kind of forced to be.
Yeah, and maybe Chandra, from what I know, because like she's not full of herself. She's just a hothead. Literally in most cases.
Yeah, she's always on fire.
Yeah, exactly. But like she just acts first without thinking. So I don't know if that's egotistical. I think she's just I don't think there's much thought involved.
There are a couple people in Innistrad that we'll get to that are like that.
Okay.
But like none of the planeswalkers.
No.
They're all just, well, if you have the power of a demigod, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So she actually comes across Geralt and convinces him to take her to where Machias is buried. She raises him from the dead, and using her magic, because she's in control of him, gets him to tell her where Avacyn is. So
why is it touched on why Liliana even cares about all this?
We're getting into that.
Oh, okay.
So the reason why is the last thing she had heard was Avacyn was fighting Griselbrand, which holds one of her demonic contracts, which holds part of her soul.
Okay.
So she's trying to find him to kill him.
And these demonic contracts, she formed them to get the powers that she has?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he tells her what happened, and by now the siege has like died down in the city. They've kind of beaten him back. The zombies did break through the wall, but they just like, we can just light them on fire, and they run away. So that's what they did. All the zombies are gone. Gissa ended up getting captured. That's Geralt's sister. She was the other one leading the charge. And Liliana goes straight for the Hell Vault, which is where everything's trapped. With Machias dead, the next in command is Thalia. And she has assembled a small battalion to stand between Liliana and the Hell Vault. And
because she's afraid Liliana's gonna release the demon?
You're right.
Okay.
So I don't know how this is possible, this next part, because no magic is supposed to be able to affect this.
Yeah.
But Liliana casts a spell that will either kill Thalia and all of her men, or destroy the Hell Vault. And Thalia...
So I know how this works. It's because it doesn't target.
Right. It's... Right. It's fact or fiction, but with destruction.
Woo.
And Thalia, being the person she is, says, save my men, and it destroys the Hell Vault, which releases Nahari, Avacyn, all the demons. Liliana immediately tracks down Griselbrand after he flies off and kills him.
Nice.
So that's 1/4 of her soul back. And then she kind of like leaves the plane, but comes back later. Now, after she leaves, Nahari, on the other hand, she returns to Zendikar and finds it in ruins. It's been 1,000 years that the Eldrazi have been allowed to mess around. So they're draining the life and mana from the plane. And she even passed through an area where they'd gone before, and everything was like calcified. There's just no mana left.
Yeah.
Not even the rocks can survive. They're just crumbling to dust.
Yep.
This point, she swears vengeance not only on Sorin, but all of Innistrad for doing this. There is a small silver lining to the destruction of the Hell Vault, where the shards of it are actually gathered up and melted down to make weapons for everyone.
Oh, okay, and they're silver, so they would be
they're
good
blessed, and they're on top of that blessed with angelic magic, so they can kill things like demons that are normally immune to silver.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I don't understand the motivation for blaming all of Innistrad though, because they don't.
Because Sorin's main thing for like doing everything was like, I don't care about other planes as long as Innistrad is safe.
Okay.
So she's like, you know what? I'm going to take the one thing from you that you care about.
Okay, so it's a vengeance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, after Episode 3, and this is the last part of this before we get into the actual block.
Yeah.
Is
yeah.
This is all prehistory.
Yeah, we haven't even started talking about the set yet.
After Evan is freed, a bunch of Lycans actually go to one of her shrines, and they pray to her, and they're like, listen, we don't want this anymore. Can you lift the curse? We don't want to be Lycans anymore. We want to be humans.
Oh, okay. They want a cure for the werewolf.
Right. So Avacyn tells her, like, there's nothing I can do. It's some sort of wild magic where it just randomly affects people, the Lycan curse.
Okay.
And she creates a combination of spells that blanket the plane that mute the curse, and it's known as the curse mute. And it does a couple of things. It completely removes the symptoms for some people, so they never transform again, they never get the hunger, nothing, they're just human. For others, it merges the two halves into one, and they become the Wolfner.
The Wolfner?
Wolfner. I know, it's a weird word. But they are stuck in their bestial forms, but they have their human minds, and now they're members of the Church of Avacyn. And
I don't know. I'd have some mixed feelings on that result. Like, oh yeah, some people just no werewolf at all, and you become a werewolf forever. Like,
yeah, but you still have your human mind and reasoning.
Yeah,
you're not just eating and killing.
I guess it depends on how. Never mind. I'm not gonna make that joke.
And honestly, that's where like the prehistory ends.
Yep.
So welcome to the first episode of Innistrad. And
oh my god, so much, and we haven't even started the set yet.
We're not even on the first block yet.
Yeah.
But this has been your host, Scott, aka Cyberquart with...
And Zach. We'll see you on the next plane, which will be still Innistrad.
Oh, God. Yeah, well. See you, everybody.
Bye.